I challenged Preet Mickelson to a defensive battle, 1 round each, from side control, mount, and turtle. We're going to see if we can submit each other. For those that don't know who Preet is, he's a black belt that specializes in teaching defensive jiu-jitsu. I teach a lot of offense, so it'll be interesting to see if my offense can beat his defense, and if his offense can beat my defense. Of course, all in good fun. Before we start, I want to talk about a topic that's even more important than jiu-jitsu. It's not unusual for me to feel stressed out about the things going on in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, because for the most part, these are all beautiful things. Having a great family to take care of, having videos to film, edit, and publish for my YouTube channel, running 2 gyms, creating new courses, coordinating with employees, and so on. It's a lot, and I want to do everything I can to the best of my ability, and it can sometimes get stressful and feel like there's too much on my plate. And if you're the same way, then talking to a therapist can be a great decision, as they can help you in dealing with all that stress. BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video, makes starting therapy easier and much less intimidating for a lot of people. BetterHelp is great because you can have therapy sessions as a phone call, as a video chat, or even messaging. Whatever's the most comfortable version of therapy for you. To get started, fill out a questionnaire that'll ask you questions about what challenges you're going through and what kind of therapist you like. And then BetterHelp can match you to a therapist to help you. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/JTJJ or choose Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu during sign up and you'll get 10% off your first month. Let's get started with side control. We let each other take whatever grips and positioning that we want on each other, and Preet chose a bit more of a north-south type position. Immediately I spin to try to insert my left knee in front of him, but Preet is blocking and immobilizing my hips with his left arm. However, I have pretty powerful hips and utilize them to fight to turn to my knees. Once I position my arms to the inside, I now have access to his legs and try to wrestle him down. But I can't fully get to my knees as Preet is gripping above my left elbow. This stops my rotation in its tracks. We both stay patient, and once I get my elbow free, now I can more easily get to my knees. But Preet is staying heavy on my head and starts threatening a choke. I establish a quarter guard and stay patient until I can make enough space to fully recover guard. Now it's my turn, and I take the standard side control with a crossface and underhook. Immediately I get off my knees and drive my weight into him and look to isolate his near side arm, but as I'm making progress, Preet outbalances me forward, which forces me to post out. This is a great way to disrupt your opponent's attacks. Give them a reason to let go. I transition to knee on belly and think about a far side armbar, but Preet senses the danger and brings his arm down. I let go of my underhook as I feel like I'm losing control of his body, and as Preet turns onto his side, I try to work for a Kimura grip. He's keeping his elbow super tight to his body, but eventually I get underneath it. Watch how Preet is tracking my leg. I try to step over his head for an armbar, but can't get my leg over his head. Eventually I do, but only for a split second, as Preet understands well the battle for both of us, and quickly positions my leg under his head. My hips are too buried underneath him, and not at the right angle. I need my hips right under his tricep and facing his elbow. Preet looks quite content as I try to figure out how to proceed. Now I start to shimmy my hips underneath his arm to take a better angle. But as I get there, he hides his hand under my leg. I need that hand between my legs, and I know it's going to be tough for me to recover position from here. But I stay patient and secure a Kimura grip. I had to use my strain face to break this grip, and now the battle is, can I get my leg over his head to stop Preet from getting up, or can he get up before I get my leg over his head? Preet won that battle, so I attack the armbar from bottom position, but I have no luck and he pulls his arm out to escape. Initially I try to drag Preet down to the mat, but he doesn't budge, so I climb up and throw one hook in. Watch how quickly Preet brings his left elbow back to close off the space to prevent me from throwing my second hook in. Because I can't get that second hook in front of his hips, I instead hook it onto his shin behind him. This is going to make it easier to stay connected to him and prevent him from rolling me forward off of him. I now take a wrist ride, hoping I can manipulate his arm enough to make space for my second hook and also take away his ability to defend his neck with that arm. It's proving extremely difficult to get underneath his chin, and it'll be easier, although still not easy to do so, if I can first drag him down to the mat. So I shift my attention away from his neck and push his hand to the inside to help take away that post, and then use my body weight to drag him down to the mat. But the way he's positioning his body is making it tough to insert my top hook. He's always fighting off that hook with his hand. I don't want him on his side like this, with his butt high up in the air. so I scoot out, trying to drag him down with me, but I lose control and he starts to get back to his knees. He starts to tripod and build a ramp for me to fall off, but I use my head to stay up. I again use my instep to hook onto his shin, so I have more connection to him, and now back my weight up to stay safe. I'm trying to figure out how to best proceed, as his defense is quite impressive. He definitely practices what he preaches. I want to catch him in a transition, but he has too much patience to get reckless and make a mistake. The audio wasn't recording, but I remember saying, "Damn, you've got a good turtle," because he absolutely does. I throw my hook over his arm, but I can't drag him down like I was hoping to. And with him still on his knees, he could use my leg to wrestle me down, so I abandon that and get back to a secure position. More of the same, I drag him down, he gets back up, he fights my hooks, and now I only have chest to back connection but no hooks. But I use my flexibility and short legs to enter the crucifix. I'm trying to hit an arm lock, but I can't quite get my hips angled towards his elbow, and he's able to pull his arm out. I throw a hook in, but it's only a top hook, and what I really need is a bottom hook. So I stay patient and don't commit to anything. He takes my hook out and monitors that leg with his arm, so I hook onto it again and enter the crucifix. I think I might have had that arm lock slightly tight, but only for a split second before he adjusts his elbow. He said after, my flexibility took him for a surprise, and I think that happens often. Maybe I just don't look flexible. He again escapes his arm, and again I get a top hook. And what I'm looking to do is get to my knees for a chair sit back take. But he's controlling my foot so well and preventing me from getting a better angle. So I try for a Hail Mary guillotine, but right away I can feel it's not tight under his neck, and I concede losing position. Right away I try to peel Preet's grip off of me, but as I do, he drags me down to the mat using that grip, that inside thigh scoop grip. I take a 2-on-1 grip to keep my neck safe, and keep my knee high to prevent his hook from coming in. I start to sink my weight into Preet to keep both my hips and legs away from his legs, which makes it tough for him to throw his hooks in. Every time I feel him start to try to throw a hook in, I raise my knee to close off that space. I'm doing a good job defending, but I need to escape, so I step over his bottom hook to get out of his lap. I try to get to my knees, but Preet's upper body control pulls me right back down, so just make sure to stay out of his lap. With Preet unable to find success inserting his hooks from here, he gets up to his knees, and I use that opportunity to turn towards him and free myself of his chest to back connection. I try to shoot my bottom knee through to get my guard back, but Preet again blocks my hips using his left arm, so my plan B is to invert. And it's a good thing I always shower before training. As Preet makes some space to get out of this awkward position, I get what I need, my knees in front of him, and then keep rotating until I get both my feet in front of him. Right now, one of my priorities is to prevent Preet from positioning his feet underneath my legs, so immediately what I do is turn onto my side and position my knee on the inside with that leg flat on the mat to close off that space and to prevent his feet from getting on the inside. Ideally, I'd like to bring my elbow and knee together, but that's going to be too difficult as Preet is controlling my head. This prevents me from curling more into a ball, so instead, I try to use the assistance of my other leg to pull his leg into quarter guard, but I can't get a grip on it. I start to use my hand to help me, but I realize I'm putting myself at risk of him taking an underhook, so immediately I bring my elbow back to my body for safety. I have strong frames in place preventing Preet from advancing to a higher mount, which prompts Preet to start grip fighting to get those frames off of him. But because he's now addressing my grips, his right arm is no longer controlling my head, and I'm able to curl more into a ball. I keep trying to hook his leg, and this time instead of using my heel, I use my instep to pull his leg into quarter guard. But this can also be thought of as 3/4 mounts, and is still not a great position. And when I find my opportunity, I pummel my knees in to secure a guard. As you can see, Preet is doing the same thing that I did. He's on his side, and not allowing my right leg to position itself underneath his left leg. I feel him making progress, getting more onto his side, so I take a crossface and try to bring him back down. Watch how I use my right foot to control above his knee and prevent him from bringing his right knee higher. That's priority, stay in front of his knees. Preet is looking to build a base by getting onto his elbow, and I use my body weight to keep him down. But eventually he does get to his elbow, and now I gotta get him back down. Watch how I transition from my foot in front of his knee to my heel on his hip. Again, this is to make sure I stay in front of his knees. To bring Preet back down, I drive my weight forward to collapse his frame over itself. Right away, I position my foot back in front of his knee. He's again dangerously close to knee to elbow connection, in which case I lose position. So again I use a shallow crossface to force Preet onto his back. He almost has me in quarter guard, and to stay in front of his knees, I'm forced to transition to knee on belly. I step over to mount, but with his knee so high up, I'm at risk again of him putting me in quarter guard. So again I transition to knee on belly. I keep working to flatten him out until eventually I commit too much weight and he rolls me over.